That's fine. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Rainey Bastarash with the American School of Hypnosis. And tonight we're going to have a workshop on successful marketing mindset. That's right. Basically learning about your personal wealth programming. Over the last few weeks we spoke about marketing, about making money as a hypnotherapist, different ways you can make money. We spoke about personal sessions, individual sessions, group sessions, making money selling different products like MP3s, CDs, books. We spoke about comedy hypnosis, making money with past life regression, being an instructor. So we told you all the physical ways. And tonight I want to get into how to set your mindset the way you should be thinking in order to be successful. Let's face it, there's a lot of people that have a lot of products out there that can make them successful. They have great looking stores, great looking opportunity, but if you don't feel the success, if you don't believe it or have the mindset of being successful, chances are you won't be. So let's go ahead and talk about that. More than talk about it, we're going to have an exercise towards the end of this workshop that's going to help you to find out what you want in your, I guess you could say, success meter. So let's go ahead and talk. One of the first things I want to say to you, okay, I'm going to say a statement, and the first thing that comes to your mind, I want you to think about it. The first thing that comes to your mind when they say this: being wealthy is the noblest of all causes. Being wealthy is the noblest of all causes. Think of that. Now, as soon as I said that, what came to your mind? Did you go, yeah? Or did you say, this guy's off his rocker? Or did you say, oh, no, I don't have a job, where I can do that. I don't have the products. Oh, I'm making it by. What was the first thing that came to your mind? If it was anything but agreement, we have some work to do if you want to be successful. First of all, to be successful, you have to believe you want to be. You have to believe you deserve it. You have to believe it's a worthy cause. After all, people who are wealthy can live a happier life because everyone wants more of what they have. And of course, with more money, you can have more of what you have. You have less hindrances in the way. How about all the other people you know? You can help them to be wealthy. Do you have to give them all your money? No. But if you know how to be wealthy, you sure as heck can show them how, teach them how. Of course, you know that today if you give somebody something, they probably don't feel like they appreciate it. They probably won't do much with it. But if you teach them how to do it on their own, it's a whole different thing. So, okay, it is okay to want more money. It is okay to be wealthy. But why do so many people feel like it's not? What stands in their way? Well, that's what we're going to talk about first. What stands in your way is your personal programming. Everything that made you the person that you are today came from your past. Think of that. From your past, from your environment, your family, your guardians, your relatives, your church, your schooling, that all built your programming. Okay, so the people's feelings towards wealth as you grow up are probably going to be your feelings as well. Think about this. How do we learn when we're young? How do we build our programming from our families? We learn primarily through observation. Through observation. Think of that. So pretty much anything that you have experienced, observed, or heard from your family became your programming as well. So right now, take a moment and think about your childhood. What things have you heard your family, friends, relatives say about being successful? Have they always spoken about how successful they are and how great it is to be wealthy? Or have they spoken about financial difficulties? Have you observed and experienced going through really rough times with them, seeing your family maybe crying over bills they can't pay or over hardships? These kind of things become your programming as well. So when you start to think of them that way, what kind of things have they done that have become your programming? Another way to do it is Imagine yourself right now in front of your parents, whether they're here or not, even if they've passed on, but imagine if you were in front of your parents, your guardian, whoever was important to you, and you said, Mom, Dad, I've decided I'm going to be rich. My business is going to make me more wealthy than you could ever imagine. What would be their reaction? Would they be proud? Would they agree with you? Or would they come up with the rash of reasons why you can't make it? And you know what I mean. A lot of people come up with so many reasons why you can't be successful. Think about that. Did they say, well, people in our environment, in our neighborhood, just never get out of the projects and don't get wealthy? People of your race or nationality or religion never get ahead. We have to struggle for everything. Maybe you've heard them say you have to work a 40-hour job if you want to, for 30 years and retire if you want to be secure. How many people do you know that have worked 30 years and just before retirement, the business went under and they had nothing? Okay, so what kind of things have you heard? That happens to be your programming as well. So basically, the way we got in the situations that we're in now is through our environment. All the things we remember, experience, that became, it's almost like little tape recordings going in our head. And when we come up to something, when we're given a stimuli, we respond with something that's happened from our past. That's basically all you have to work with is your past experiences. So two people see the same stimuli, they see an opportunity. One of them, if you've had a really good past and a really, let's say, wealth-oriented past, will look at this stimuli, this opportunity, and know exactly what to do with it and say, wow. Someone who hasn't had that kind of a past might look at it and go, oh, no way I'm going to make it. You see what I mean? The same opportunity, same people, different past. So the first thing is being aware of it. You can change your past programming. People that have been to my training have probably heard me say this story before, but I'm going to tell you a little story about my past, okay? For years, when Raluca and I first got in business, we did quite well, but every year, right around October, things got really slow. So in October, we were thinking, oh gosh, why are the bills so much bigger? Why can't we bring in enough money to be able to pay for these bills? And every October, it was the same thing. We dreaded October. By the way, October's coming up pretty soon, I know, so don't worry. I won't cry. Okay, so anyways, here we were worrying about it so much. And one day I was on the telephone having a conversation with my mother. Now, my dad has passed on for a long time, but my mom and dad were both self-employed printers. They had competing print shops, okay? Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But they had competing print shops. And Mom told me one day, she says, because I mentioned this thing about October being tough, she goes, your father had that same problem. She goes, every year, right around October, things started to get a little tough. Sometimes he even had to take out a loan to get through. Now, guess what? I was real little when this was happening. But I might have been in the background somewhere observing this or hearing this, and it subconsciously became part of my programming. Remember I said anything you experience, understand, or pick up from your family becomes your own programming? So that became my programming as well. So you can see that I was kind of working from a hard place here, trying to get ahead, but believing that I couldn't in this month. Once I knew about it, once she enlightened me with it, guess what? I changed my programming. And one of the future workshops we'll be doing, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that as well. But I changed my programming through repetition and started giving myself the affirmations or mantras or hypnosis that October was my best month of the year. Guess what? October's my best month of the year. I can't wait for next month. October surpasses every other month now simply because I was able to change my programming. Think of it as a tree. If you want the tree to bear different fruit, you need different roots. And it's the same thing. If you want to bear different fruit than you have, if you want to be successful and you haven't been successful before, you need to change your roots, your programming, what makes you you. Remember the old thing of the person who wants to change but doesn't want to do anything different? Well, if you continue doing the same things year after year for the next 10 years, 10 years from now, you're going to be in the same place as you are now. Change requires a change. And as you know, change can be something very difficult because we're creatures of habit. We like to be comfortable, okay? So, when we're talking about whether we want to be successful or not, we're talking about blueprints, okay? We also have to bring up the victim mentality. Now, victims aren't born, I'm sorry. I've never seen a baby that was born saying, oh, woe is me, okay? We're born happy. There's no reason to be a victim. But being a victim is a learned behavior. Whenever you complain, justify, or explain your behavior, you're a victim. Okay, so when I say wealth is the noblest of all causes and somebody says, oh, not for me, oh, my business isn't big enough, oh, the economy, oh, my wife, my husband, my kids, my job, that's being a victim. Okay, so we need to stop complaining and take 100% responsibility. However, some people that complain, and we see this a lot, that complain how they can't be successful, actually enjoy that. Now that sounds weird, but think of it this way. If you're not being successful right now, and you're trying, and you're doing everything you can, what do you get out of not being successful? What's your reward? Compare it with people who are constantly sick. They don't know why, they can't get better, but they're constantly sick, and they're always telling people how sick they are, and they're always getting, oh, you poor thing, oh, you poor thing. That's their reward. They're getting so much attention that they weren't getting before, and even as adults, we're like little kids. We want attention, okay? Oh, you poor child, I'm proud of you, I'm sorry for you. We want that. Wealth is the same way. You hear so many times, oh, I have this bill, and I don't know how I'm going to get over that. And people are like, oh, poor you, how do you get by? See the attention? As long as you're getting something out of it, as long as you have this reward, as long as you have the victim mentality, you are not going to move ahead. I've never seen a truly successful victim. I don't know if you have. Okay, so your mentality has to be a wealth mentality. It has to be a mentality of wanting to move forward. Now, how much do you have to want this? We're going to talk about wealth and exactly what you want in a few moments. But how strong does your desire have to be wealthy? I heard a story a while back that will help to understand this. It was about a Buddhist monk and one of his, I guess you could say one of his students. And the student, was meditating, come up to the monk and he says, Master, he says, how much do I really have to want it to reach enlightenment? How strong should my desire be? And the monk looked at the student, he says, hey, come over here, I'll help you answer that question. Look into this barrel. There was a big barrel and it was filled to the brim with water. It was nice and calm, almost like a mirror. And he said, look inside the barrel, tell me what you see. The student looks in the barrel, he doesn't see anything. He goes, get closer, look deep into the barrel. The student gets real close, looking into the barrel to try to see something. And just as he gets real close, the monk takes him by the back of the head and pushes him right down in the water, pushes his head underwater so he can't breathe. Now here's the student thrashing and splashing, trying to breathe. He's drowning. The monk kept his head under there for about a minute or so and then pulled him back up. Of course, the student's spitting out the water and, oh, wow, he said, I almost drowned. And the monk looked at the student and he says, when your head was underwater, you wanted to breathe. How strong was your desire to breathe? That's how strong your desire needs to be for enlightenment. Or in this case, that's how strong your desire needs to be for success. Do you want it or not? Is it a whim? Or do you truly want to be successful? You're 100%. If it's a 100% goal, that's what you want, you can attain it. So, how much do you want it? We spoke about you need to have 100% responsibility, you have to stop being a victim, and you really have to want it. How many times have you heard these stories about wealthy people where they went from rags to riches, okay? I heard one just recently. This guy, of course, he lost his job, lost his house, lost his family. He was living on the streets, in alleyways and getting food out of trash cans and all that. And he came up with this idea and he went after it 100%. And within a few months, he was a multi-millionaire. How many times do you hear that? It seems like most millionaires, when you listen to their story, they always started from rags. So does that mean that we all have to go out, lose our jobs, and live on the street to be wealthy? No, it really doesn't. But what it does teach us is the mindset of wealth, the mindset of what it takes. This is why most people who are comfortable, okay, middle class people, people with families, they're comfortable in their ways. They don't seem to get wealthy as often as people with nothing. Because people with nothing have nothing to lose. They're putting everything in it because they have no other choice. People who are comfortable, okay, like most of us, we're comfortable. So when we have this goal and I'm going to put everything into here, we put everything into this idea and work towards it until it gets a little difficult, until we see ourselves losing a little, maybe dipping a little in a direction we don't want to, and we let it go because we have an alternate plan and of course we are comfortable. You see what I mean? Where's that hunger mindset? The hunger mindset isn't there. Another story I heard about some Vikings will help talk about this. It was a group of Vikings, and their land was going to be basically taken over by this larger group of fierce warriors. The larger group outnumbered them 4-1. Well, one night, the larger group, before they attacked, they actually camped on this island just away from the Vikings, the Vikings' home. So they're all, what are we going to do? We're going to lose. These guys are 4-1 outnumbering us. How are we ever going to make it? Well, the captain or the leader of the Vikings says, here's what we're going to do. Everybody get in boats. We're going to go over to that island basically in the camouflage, I guess you could say, of night, okay? And we're going to go over the island and we're going to attack them before they can get to us. So what they did was they got in their boats, they went over to the island, and then the captain told his leaders, I want you to go and destroy all the boats so we can't go back home. Once they did that, he called his men together and he goes, men, guess what? We're going to have a battle. We are fighting for our lives because there's no way we can retreat. We either win or we die right here. You see the mentality he had? And of course, as it went, they had the battle and the smaller group actually won. Because they were fighting for their lives, the poor mentality. The larger group, they thought they had it in the bag. They had alternate plans. They could leave, but they never thought they'd lose. So they weren't fighting for their lives and their families. They were just fighting for more land. They were fighting from comfort. So even having 4 times as many people, they still lost. So that's what we need to do. We need to have the mentality, whether it be not only for wealth, but if you want to be healthy. You can be perfectly healthy, but you need the mentality of perfect health. I want it like I want it like I want it. There's no alternate plan. I'm going to be healthy, and that's it. I'm going to be wealthy, and that's it. I'm going to have a perfect relationship, and that's it. If that's what you want, you can have it. What the mind can conceive, it can achieve. But it has to be more than a whim, more than a dream. It has to be a goal with that, what can I say, a homeless mentality, with that all or nothing mentality. You're going to get it because you want to get it. Okay, so knowing that, you want to be wealthy, but that's kind of a general term. What do you really want? And that's what we're going to talk about. What do you want? Have you thought of that? What exactly do you want? Think about it right now, because we're going to do a little exercise in a few minutes, that's going to help you to identify exactly what you want. Imagine yourself going into a restaurant, okay? You're sitting at the restaurant and you want food. Because people say, I want to be wealthy. That's like saying, I want food. So if you sit down and the waitress comes over, can I help you? Yeah, I want food. She's just going to look at you and say, what kind of food? How do you want it cooked? What do you want? You need to know exactly what you want, just like you're ordering from a menu. So what do you want? Do you want $200,000? Do you want a new car? What specific kind? Do you want a new house? Do you want to move? Do you want to travel? Do you want to have a big conglomerate? What exactly do you want? If you don't know what you want, guess what? you're not going to get it, okay? You need to place your order in order to get your meal. And it's the same thing with anything having to do, if you're familiar with the law of attraction, you need to know what you're putting out there in order for it to come to you. So what do you want? So here's what I want to do. This is going to be kind of fun. If any of you that are listening are near, or actually, whether you're near it or not, go get a piece of paper. I want you to go get a sheet of paper and a pen or a pencil right now. We're going to create basically, we're going to do an exercise to help you to find out what you want. And it might not be what you think you want, because you're going to get, it's going to be an interesting twist coming to this. So I want you to get a sheet of paper, and I'm going to go quickly. You can do this a little bit more afterwards, after this video is over. But right now, I want you to, on the top part of the paper, I want you to leave the bottom part free. On the top half, I want you to write down everything that you can think of you want. We're going to deal with wealth right now, okay? So let's not talk about health and relationships. That'll be another time. So with wealth, what do you want? Do you want money? Write down how much money you want. Or as close to it, because you can work on that later. Do you want to move? Do you want a new house? Do you want a new car? What kind of car? Do you want new shoes? I don't mean just big things, but even little things. Do you want a new watch? Do you want a new job? Do you want a new screen door? Write down as many things as you want on that list right now as we're talking. Be as detailed as possible. I'm going to give you a few more seconds. I'm hoping you're really doing this. Otherwise, I'm just looking at you folks and doing this with my hand for no reason at all. That could be annoying for people that are watching and not writing. So write. It's only going to help yourself. You're doing it. Great. Okay. Well, if you're typing to me, you're doing it. You're not doing it, so do it. Don't type to me. Okay. Hopefully, you've got at least 5 or 10 items. Now, this is kind of interesting. When Raluca does counseling sometimes, she does what we call law of attraction counseling. People come see her and she'll say, "What do you want?" And it's amazing how they're going to say what they don't want. Okay, so somebody's there for, let's say, business, and she'll say, "What do you want?" He's going to say something like, "I don't want to go broke." Oh, cancel, cancel. He doesn't want to go broke. I don't want to say that myself. Don't want my subconscious to get the wrong idea. So he says he doesn't want to go broke. So what's he focusing on? Going broke. Or somebody with relationships. What do you want? And he says he doesn't want a divorce. What's he focusing on? A divorce, okay? They don't. Most people, when you ask them what they want, they always write down what they don't want, because it's easy to say what you don't want. So we're going to have a little fun with that right now. On the bottom part of the sheet, okay, the bottom part of that sheet, you just wrote what you wanted at the top. I want you to make a column right down the middle on the bottom, because we're going to use the bottom 2 sides. On the left side, make a list right now of everything that you can think that you don't want. This is an exercise in what we call the law of polarity, okay? You write down everything you don't want. Maybe you don't want to go broke. Maybe you don't, again, with finances, maybe you don't want to lose your car. Maybe you don't want to be unhappy. Maybe you don't want to be alone. You know, you could put some of those things too. But what is it you really don't want in life? So I guess, yeah, maybe we'll get a little away from finances. The main things that you don't want. So go ahead and do that. Once again, this is my timer with my hand. You actually think I'm conducting music in the background, right? Okay. So everything you don't want. Hopefully you'll get about 5 or 10 things on there. Very important. Be serious with this, okay? Because I'm not going to have you come over and tell me the answers after what you wrote down. This is personal. This is for you. The whole idea of these meetings is to help you with your mindset, with your business, and making more money. Now, on the right side, this is what they call the law of polarity. Everything you wrote on the left side, just to the right of it in the other column, I want you to write the exact opposite. So if you say, "I don't want to be unhappy," the opposite would be, "I want to be happy." I don't want to work where I'm working, then I want a new job, okay? So everything that you put with the negative, write the exact opposite on the right. And please, if you didn't get a chance to do much of this tonight, or any of it, listen to this and do it on your own. You'll be really surprised with the response. So write the exact polarity, the exact opposite of what you didn't want on the left, with what you want on the right. Okay, now what I want you to do, look at your list on the right of all the things that you said you do want, and look at the list on the top of what you wanted initially. Are they the same? Or are they quite different? A lot of people, when they write down what they want in life, and I know we're talking about finances and wealth, but they're talking about all the specific things, the toys and all the little doodads that will make them happy. But when they look at the law of polarity, what they want on the bottom, they're finding out things like, I want happiness. I want a mate. I want, the things are totally different. When you're using the polarity of what I don't want and the opposite, you're finding out what's really important in your life. Now, you don't have to write things down on here, but I'm going to ask you, and if you want to type this, just so I get some acknowledgement, did you find your law of polarity wants different than what you actually wanted on the top? If you did, go ahead and let me know. It's kind of fun to see that. It's like night and day, and especially when you spend a lot of time doing this. I sure did, he goes. When you spend a lot of time and make a big list of doing this, it's pretty impressive. It kind of makes you reevaluate what you really want in life. Okay, so this is pretty much what I wanted to speak to you about tonight, and I'm not going to leave you hanging completely, but what we're going to do over the next couple weeks, okay, is we're going to take this further. Tonight was step one, where I wanted you to determine exactly what you want in life. Step two, which we're going to talk about next week, is to help you fine-tune this, how to define it. You need to define what you want, because if you just say, I want wealth or health, it's like going in the restaurant and saying, I want food. So we're going to talk about how to define it, how to fine-tune it and get what you want. And I'm going to give you a sneak preview. We're going to talk about a kid's letter to Santa. That's one of the exercises. When a kid writes a letter to Santa Claus, by golly, he's very clear in what he wants. I want that 26-inch red Huffy-back bicycle with the rocket on the side and the blue, white, and red streamers. So when Santa or somebody else goes shopping for his toy, they know exactly which one it is. The kid even cleaned out room in the garage and tells you that it's on sale at Walmart, okay? So that's how detailed we need to be, and we're going to talk about that next week. And then the third week, or either next week or the one after, we're going to talk about how to place your order. Because, as you know, with the law of attraction or the subconscious mind, which are one and the same, you can go into that restaurant, you can want food, but if you don't place your order, you'll sit there all day long while everyone else is being fed around you, and you'll never get a meal. You need to place your order, but before you place it, you need to know what you want and how you're going to do it. So, wishing you all the best of success this week, and I hope to see you all next week. And hey, tell your friends about this. We're not just here to talk to hypnotherapists or our own association. We want to build our following. We want to help as many people as we can. So let your friends know about it. Have them come over next week, and you're going to be helping them as well. So until then, as they say, keep your stick on the ice and have a great week. Take care, everybody.